Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so we are continuing our lessons on the operations on the different data types and data structures in C Sharp, which forms the basics of most of the things we're going to be doing using this language. And today we're going to be looking at dictionary operations in C Sharp. So, what are dictionaries? Dictionaries are simply a type of data structure that arranges data in key value pairs. So let's say a you have data or information that needs to be arranged in key value pairs like the registration number and the name of a student, or the serial number and the name of the student. So say Alice. Alice has the serial number of 101 and the name of Alice is Alice. Or you have Bob that has the serial number of 102. So whenever you have such arrangement, then you need to use what we call dictionary. In some languages, they call these objects. So we have key value pair. Once you have the key, you should be able to infer the value. You remember we've looked at data types and data structures like integer, where you have just a number without decimal. You have double, a number with decimal. You have string, which is collection of characters. You have boolean, which has value of either true or false. We also looked at array that has collection of the same data type values. And now we're looking at dictionaries. So how do you create a dictionary in C Sharp? You simply say, use the keyword dictionary. Then in angle brackets, you put the data type of the key and value. So the key here is integer because you have 101, 102, and the value is a string because you have Alice and Bob. Then you write the name of the dictionary, the variable name this time, which is students, because we are trying to describe students. Then use the new keyword, the then dictionary, then also the data types. So we're going to be looking at this now, and the various operations like accessing the value. You can see that the accessing the value is similar to that of an array, and also how to check if key exists by using the contains keyword, and also how to loop through using the for each, similar to how to loop through arrays. That's the use the for each in. Okay, so those are the things we are going to be looking at today. So I'm simply gonna open up our text editor, and when we look here, we see that we have array operations which we've looked at. We have string and math operation which we've looked at. Now we are supposed to create dictionary operations console application where we'll practice this. So I'll need somebody to tell me what to type into the terminal in order to create this console application with the knowledge of what we've been doing so far. Who can help me remember what to type into the terminal in order for me to create a dictionary console application?
.NET,
Thank you. So you want me to type .NET?
.NET,
Uh-huh.
new
What else?
console,
What else do you want me to type?
Space.
Space, new
New console.
console, okay. What else?
Minus.
Dash n, okay. Then what?
Then the name of the folder in quotation marks.
The name of the folder. Is it in quotation marks? Are you sure it's in
Yes,
quotation
in
mark?
quotation marks. Yes.
So what name should I give it? What names do you think I
Dictionary.
should give it?
Dictionary.
Dictionary, okay. Dictionary, what? You know, it's possible that dictionary is a keyword. So it's better I put something with dictionary and not just dictionary. So what should I put? Dictionary operations, is that good?
Uh,
Okay. So I press the enter key. So once you do this, you're going to see that you will have dictionary operators here once this creates successfully. So you can see here we have dictionary operations. So this is how you create a new .NET console application. And what we've been doing so far are console applications. We'll say very soon we're going to start creating web APIs, web applications. Okay. Now, the next thing we'll do will be to go into this and we'll look at the program.cs and we'll try to clear out what is in there. Then this is where we then type in our codes. And today we're going to be looking at dictionaries, dictionary. And we'll simply say that dictionary are data that you organize in what form? Key value pairs. So for each data, it has to contain the key and the value. So for each row, there has to be key and value. And in order for us to define a dictionary, we need to use the keyword dictionary, then in angle brackets, we'll put in the data type. So if we are using numbers first, we say int. Then if you are using string second, we say string. Now once we've done that, we can then write the name of the variable that is going to be holding the value of the dictionary. And this time around, we are using the word student. We're using the word students. So once you do that, you now have to write new using the new keyword. Then you repeat dictionary. Then see, the IntelliSense is trying to help me do this, and I don't want the IntelliSense. Okay. So once I'm here, I can just put this and close out with a semicolon and save this. So this is dictionary. So I've declared this dictionary. I can now add values to it. So in order to add items to this dictionary, I can say students.add. Then I can put in the names. So I can say students.add. Then in brackets, I can then have the number 101, comma, the name, Alice. I can now add another person by saying students dot add, and in brackets I can have 102 and Bob. Okay, so I can save this. So this is how you add the elements of the dictionary. And the next thing I'm going to do will be to access the value. And in order to access the value and print it out, I'm going to use console dot write line. Then in brackets, I'm going to write students. Then in square brackets, I'm going to indicate the one I want to pick. And I want to pick out student 101, which, as you know, should be Alice. So if I save this and come down here to run this by saying .NET run, so you say couldn't find, that means I have to change the directory by saying cd. So I'm changing the directory to which of the directories? Dictionary operations. So I have to be inside this folder for me to run. So once I'm there, I can now do .NET run. So once you say .NET run, it's going to run this program.cs line by line. So it has been able to run and create these dictionary students. Now it goes and assign these values, these elements to this dictionary, and it comes and console.write lines this. So this is the last thing it will do, and that is what you will see here, which is Alice. You can see it here. So it actually did all these 3 lines first, but you cannot see them here because you're not consoling the lines. So the only one you see here is when you console, but all these operations have been done. So if you now want to console out the second person, which is Bob, so you simply say console.writeLine students at 102. Then when you come here and run again, you're going to see Bob after Alice. So that is how you can access the value. So been able to do 3 things. We created the dictionary here. We added items and we accessed the value. So what were we able to do? Here what we do was to create a dictionary of students. That's what we did. Then here what we were able to do was that we added students to the dictionary. And finally here what we were able to do is to print the students in the dictionary. So it's good that you know how to perform these operations. Now the next thing we're going to do will be to check if a key exists. To check if a key exists. And how to do that is that we can simply ask if the student contains the key that we want, you should be able to perform something. That's how we do it. So inside here, inside the condition, we're going to say if students dot contains key. Remember we use this contents for a string, but what we called it was contains and not contains key. But for a dictionary, the word is contains key. So if it contains the key of 102, What do we want to do? So I don't want to use IntelliSense to do this. So I want to type it out. Console.writeLine student found. Okay, this is exactly what I want to write, but I'm still going to type it out. Console.writeLine, then in brackets, stu student found. Okay, then make sure you close out with semicolon. So once I do this, I'm going to run this application and see whether it's right student found. But what it's going to do is that it's going to evaluate this condition to check whether the student contains the key of 102, and we can see that we have 102. So once it's there, it's going to write student found. If it's not there, it's not going to write anything. So I'm going to save this and come down here and run this application. So you can see student found because there is key 102. So let's say we have 107 and I save again. I come down here. So it uses the contains key method to check whether it has that very key. So 107 it does not have. You see, stopped at Bob. It did not write student found. Okay, so I'm going to change this to 102 back. I'm going to run this application again so that I can see that student found. Okay, so that is the next operation we checked, which is to check if a key exists. That's what we just did here. Check if students exist. Now we're going to look at another operation in dictionary, which is to look through a dictionary. So now we're going to look at looping through a dictionary. You can see once I write what I want to do, the IntelliSense writes the rest for me. And this is the modern way to code. So that's why once you finish understanding the basics of coding, you see that coding is no longer difficult because your IDE is going to be writing out the whole code for you. But you need to understand what that code does. That is the important thing. You need to understand what it does. But the actual remembering the syntax and writing it out in the modern world is going to be done for you by AI. Currently, I use AI in my work. And the beauty of it is that AI doesn't just write all the simple things that I'm writing now. AI can write a whole application for you. In fact, I've built a new application that was written totally using AI. So towards the end of this our class, I'm going to also teach us how to use AI to write codes. You can literally build any application you want using AI. But you need to understand what we call prompt engineering, how to prompt the AI to write a good code. So I'm going to be showing you that as well. So that you yourself, you can build applications for yourself. Any application that you feel you can actually create startups by yourself. This time around, and this is the best time to be a software engineer because you can literally think of something and you start building it. You can build anything you want. You have the superpowers to create anything. So you see that the job that you'll be doing in trying to be an entrepreneur using software engineer will be marketing the product that you've created. Now, creating the product itself is no longer a problem, but thinking will be the problem, like thinking about the right product to produce and marketing the product. So thinking about how to go about producing, this is what we are learning now. Because as you're learning all these things, you learn the simple logics. If this is this, how do I create a product in software engineering? That's what you're learning. But you're going to find out that AI is going to be able to help you do the actual creation, the actual development. But it's good you understand what the AI is doing, and that's why we are learning what we are learning. Okay, so let's move forward to looping through. So in looping through, we can say for each, just similar to what we use for array. So for each var student, so it's always good you use var when you're looking at, because this is a key value pair. So for var student in students, so you use the singular form of this students. So for each student in the dictionary known as what? Students. That's the meaning of that. For each student in students, what do we want to do? For each student in students, what do we want to do? So that means go through the students dictionary. Then for each student, for each of the students, I want to console the right line, the student key, and the student value. So you can use this way of writing, concatenating strings together, but I'm going to use a different way, which is the string interpolation that we've looked at. So I'm going to say console dot right line, then in brackets, I'm now going to introduce the dollar sign, which is how you use the string read routes, and the double quotes. Then I'm going to write student key, but this time around in curly brackets because I'm introducing a variable. So I'm going to say student dot key. Make sure the key is starting in capital letter. Then I'll come out of this curly brackets. I want to use the colon and not the hyphen. Then space, I'm going to use another curly brackets and now say student dot values, value, student value. Okay, so if I save this and I come down here and I run, so it's going to print out the key and values for each of the students. So I simply said here, for each of the students in the students dictionary, help me and print out or console.write the student key, colon, the student value. So it's asking me to put a semicolon at the end of my statement, which is the normal ritual in C#. So I just put that, I save back, and I run again. Student does not exist. Okay, so there's a mistake in spelling. So which of them, student, student. Okay. So once there's an error, you have to go through the code and see where the problem is. So you should know how to read the errors as a software engineer. And the funny part is that AI actually knows how to read better errors than you. So if you have this sort of error, you can just copy the error and put inside the chat box for the AI, and it will be able to pin out all the errors and sort them out once. So you can see here, the red number is 101 for Alice, 102 for Bob. So it's able to go through this dictionary and print out as you want the whole content of the dictionary. Okay. So we're going to be having some assignments. And number one, or some problem solving. Number one will be student ID lookup. Create a student ID lookup. Create a student ID lookup. So similar to what we just looked at. Then number two, create a phone book. You're going to see that a phone book is similar to a dictionary because it takes the name and then the phone number. So it's a string int or string data typed dictionary. Then finally, we also have a username password storage. Username password storage. Just similar to what we've still done now. It's going to be string because username is a string, password is a string. So create dictionaries, which are pretty very simple dictionaries. And okay, so that is what we have for today. So if you look at these, you see that that is what we have here. In subsequent class, we're going to quickly move into data structures and algorithms in order for us to look at the basic data structures in C Sharp. We'll first of all understand what data structures are. So apart from dictionary and arrays, we still have other ways of arranging our data. So data structure is simply a way of arranging our data. So we're going to be we already know what array is, we already know what dictionary is, but we're going to, in a simple terms, look at queue and stack, which are also similar. Then after knowing this, what they are, what these data structures are, then we look at the basic data structures. Array we've already looked at. So apart from array, there are other data structures. We're going to be looking at dynamic array, chord list, which is very similar to an array, but it can change. Then we'll look at stack. So stack uses last in, first out. LIFO, queue, first in, first out, similar to the queue that you have when you go to bank. Stack, similar to stack of plates or stack of books. So these are data structures in C Sharp that are very good, that you can use them in arranging your data when you're writing your code. And we say that data is everything that you see when you're writing code. Then we look at dictionary, which we've already looked at already. So those are the four data structures that we're going to be looking at. They are the simple ones. There are other bigger ones, but those ones will come much later in our course. Then we then look at algorithm. Algorithm simply means solving problems. So in life, real life algorithm, when you wake up in the morning or when you want to prepare tea, you want to make tea, algorithm simply means the steps that you take in solving a problem. So let's say your problem is making a tea. What are the steps? First of all, you have to boil water. You have to now add the tea inside the water. Then you add sugar, then you stir. That's how you make a tea. So that is algorithm, step by steps, how you solve a problem. So we're going to be solving some problems, basic problems in C Sharp, like linear search. We'll see how simple that is. So now in doing your algorithm, that's where you use all those string manipulations, array manipulations, dictionary manipulations, math operations that we've learned, and also the control flows like the loops and the functions. So you can see here, we used array in representing the data. Then we use things like boolean, and then we use the for each and the if statement in order for us to do this algorithm. Now here, simple sort, the same thing. You use all those things you've learned so far to solve some problems. After which we were going to look at the big O notation. Very, very important. So from there, we can start solving problems. So very soon in our class, any day we come to class, we must solve one problem, one algorithm, simple algorithm, so that you can uh, develop your muscle in solving problems. And we're going to be winning prizes. Any person that is first to finish solving a problem will win 1,000. So once I start this, every day we're going to be dashing 1,000 in our class for somebody that is first to solve. In that way, students are going to be motivated to solve and increase their speed, because when you want to get a job in a big company, algorithms and data structures, that's what they test. So I want to be able to build this into the students so that they will have the interest of solving algorithm problems. So the skills we are going to be using are the skills we already got, but we're going to be training that skill so that when we start looking for job, it becomes easier for us. We can be able to solve problems. So whenever you hear solving problems, we're talking about algorithms and data structures, and the strength that you build in solving algorithm and data structures, that those are the strength that you'll be using in real life to solve the real life problems. Because what is software engineering in essence? The ability to use coding to solve real life problems. That's why Facebook is making so much money, because they were able to use coding to solve the problem of connection, and people are able to connect on Facebook. The same thing with Twitter or X, the same thing with Telegram, the same thing with WhatsApp. So people actually wrote those codes to develop those applications that solve the problem of communication, and they are making a whole lot of money. And that is what we are going to be learning, because we are going to be giving you the strength to use codes to solve real life problems. And once you solve real life problem, that is where you make your money. So I'm going to be showing us also the application that I'm building using vibe coding, using AI. So the application is almost done and it's totally using vibe coding. I'm going to deploy it and market it so that people will use the application. So that is the real thing now. So you have the superpowers of using AI to like scale up, write your code. Instead of, if it was before AI era, I'm going to need to employ up to 10 to 15 or even 20 software engineers to work on that project. I used to work in a company that has more than 50 software engineers working on different projects. So to develop an application, you need plenty engineers. You need backend, you need front end, you need DevOps, you need QA people. But now you find out that with AI, you can actually set up agents, AI agents that can do these things. And AIs, they are very, very efficient and fast. So a work that could take a software engineer 1 month to do, AI can finish it in some hours for you. But for you to be able to use this AI very well, you need these basics that we're learning now, so that you can understand how to go about working on these codes in your editor, being able to ship them efficiently. So those are what we're going to be looking at. So please try and do this assignment that I just wrote out, push them to GitHub, and send me the link so that I'll look at them. By next month, I'm going to be checking the assignments. I'm going to be checking most things. So I expect those people that their computers are not yet fixed, fix them. Give me a call so that we can set them up, so that you can actually follow up everything we're doing as we are doing them. Okay. So that said, that is where we're going to be drawing the curtains for today's class. Okay, yeah. So we'll look at data structures and algorithm from tomorrow, so that by next week, we have to start doing assignments, real coding. You share your screen and see what you're doing. Start fresh again, push through, do assignments, get very comfortable with what we're doing. Then we can start doing the algorithm challenge every day of our classes, every day. Once we give a simple algorithm problem, if you're the first to finish and give all the answer, you have 1,000. I want to make it as interactive as possible, and I also want to make sure that people are not cheating using AI to give the solutions, because most of these solutions can actually be given from AI. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can have you do it by yourself and submit. I can be able to track the time in order to determine the person that does the actual work in time. Okay. So that said, that's where we're going to be ending for today. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the WhatsApp to me. For those of us asking whether I've not added them to the WhatsApp group, I've not yet created the WhatsApp group, so I'm waiting for other people to join up before we can create that. So you can still DM me directly if you have questions for now, and send me your assignments. Once I create it, I'm gonna let you guys know about it. Okay. So till then, see you when I see you. Thank you and God bless.